So here we go. What we're going to do is set up our first ever Google Hangout. So I thought I would tape it on ScreenFlow just to make sure that if Google and YouTube via my Sports Geek page on Google Plus all don't work, there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. I'm going to start at about 10 minutes or so. So currently I'm in my Google Plus page. So what I need to do, I believe, this is much a learning experience as much as anything else, is switch to the page of Sports Geek, and we've got a few notifications here. I believe what we need to do, if I close that down, and part of anything is figuring out how things work. It's part of what we do at Sports Geek. So here is our Google event. It should be working. If I click the Google Hangout button on the event, it's now opening up the Google Hangouts component of it, and hopefully it should be as easy as clicking a few buttons and away we go. So you're about to join the Hangout. You're the first one to join. Okay, so I'm just going to test out a few things. It's always good if you're running something to see what you can do. So I can have the ability to show my screen with either my desktop, which is what I'll most likely do, making sure that I've got my presentation ready. That's not the one we want. This is again Seat 2012. That's the one we want. You're not seeing that currently in Google Plus, but you are in the ScreenFlow. Also, what I want to do is see potentially that YouTube works. Did I just lose another? Let's see. Click YouTube. I think that won't work. I was wanting to. Okay, so we might not play with that. Well, let's see what apps are available. What did you add this to the? Okay, so potentially. These are the settings. It appears to be getting my headset, and it's getting the camera. Save the settings. So now we should be seeing eventually people joining the Hangout. I've got a few people going. This is one of the things that I find a little bit strange with Google Hangout to a certain degree, is exactly what's is how people know to go into the Google Hangout. Do you send out an invite? Do you ask other people to turn up? That's where the process is a little bit clunky. So I'll just start adding a few people who I know that are coming. Who else did we say? James. Let's see if we add, say, Claire. That's James. James really should be having an avatar. So that should give us enough just to effectively re-invite people who are coming. So I've re-invited them. And so what we need to do is to turn off the notifications, things you should do before a session, just so you're not getting distracted. It seems to be, let's just go back to the home. Okay, so Sports Geek is now, the Hangout is live, is up and running. If I go to the Hangout, it's started. And we'll just sort of see. This is where it is strange because I'm starting it as Sports Geek. So I want to make sure it's. This is where I'm not sure if it's going to hit the YouTube channel for Sports Geek in getting the connection between a brand page, which is what Sports Geek is, and the YouTube account. So we'll see how that goes down the track. And if not, like I said, I'll send to put this recording up via ScreenFlow, which is a great app to record what you're doing when you're having a chat, and for screen capture and things like that. So then there's closed, waiting for people for Hangouts. Is there a way to share this post? So this is, and again, this is where what happens if I have jumped back to me. This is the conundrum with multiple identities, and starting looking at exactly what other people are on. So there's the on air. What I'm looking for is, where's the Sports Geek Hangout on there? Is it started? Sports and Digital is one of my circles. Okay, so there's the Hangout. I don't really want to open it twice, which is effectively what I'm doing at the moment. But, like I said, live and learn. You've got to test out these systems to see where the glitches lie. I don't really want to double up myself on the Hangout. So if I look at Hangouts right now, it does appear should be on air right now. It's sort of where I can't find it right. If I go to Sports Geek, it should be there. It's not coming up. Excuse me. Strange. Let's go with, go back to Chrome. This is where Google Plus really needs to get a little bit of better integration with tools like Twitter and Facebook, and so we can send tweets to people. And so I use Timely, quite effective tool for scheduling tweets, using a bit of Bitly, getting the information out. And so the other thing to be looking at is to see whether it is broadcasting via YouTube, which I've got a sneaky suspicion it's not doing it right now.
Early in the morning, everyone had a good time last night. So what I want to do, just to get everyone up and running, everyone should know who this guy is. Usain Bolt, fastest man in the world. We not have those face lights up there just yet. Put those house lights back up. At the moment, what's trending on Twitter is bolting. So everyone will remember planking from last year, where everyone was lying on the ground planking. Now the new trend is bolting. So what I want to do is we've got to do a group shot, and we're going to send out a tweet to Usain Bolt with everyone to see conference bolting. So can we have everybody up in the middle section, everyone in the panel. Going to get some photos taken, come up on the stage, take a photo.
Quick edit to the event.
Panel come down, we're all going to be bolting.
Look at the team.
Now let's edit this event. See if we can get
We'll all point this way.
I like it.
Got it? Hang on, take one with the phone on. We're going to tweet it. We're going to one more. Sarah, get more. Keep taking it.
And we're not really we want to be editing the we'll cancel this one, knowing the fact that it's not, unfortunately it doesn't appear to be hitting my YouTube channel, but like I said, live and learn. Google Plus is at least sending emails. So I appear to be going to the right place. The chat session, I'll put that up at the side. There does appear to be a bit of clunkiness with getting YouTube award thing, so I won't do that. And we see Shane. And this is where we wait for the video to come up. But good to see Shane Harmon join the Hangout. Hopefully his webcam will be working, and we don't just have online chatting, which isn't as visual. Shane, are you there? Oh, hang on. Oh yeah, so my screen's on. Shane is typing. Like I said, it's hasn't got a webcam, and you're probably just listening to me. Hope you're well, Shane. And yeah, g'day. Sorry, no modem, no webcam. That's all right. That's all right. I'm at the moment just playing around with Google Hangouts. Like I was saying, I'm recording this because I don't know if it's going to hit YouTube. What I've found is a little bit of clunkiness on where the Hangout is best hosted. Like I could have hosted this as me, could have hosted it as Sports Geek, but it was, and then there appears to be some problems in hooking it up to my YouTube channel, but as is the way. Hey, we've got audio. Is that you, Shane? You got audio there, Shane? Pretty good, mate, yourself. No, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Good, thanks. You should be able to see my screen. Yeah, so I thought I'd play around with Google Hangouts. Been talking to Google guys a little bit lately about what they're trying to do in sports. So I thought it'd be a nice way to sort of recap sort of my last trip. So I'm just trying to figure out the best place. Have you ever jumped in a Google Hangout yourself? Yeah, so I was a guest on one recently. I don't know if you know Chris Yates and those guys, Chris Yates 11. Yeah, so they've got one called the Sports Entertainment Show, Sports Entertainment. So I did one previewing Seat a couple of weeks before Seat got up and running. And so it is a little bit, takes a little bit of getting used to. Also, I'm just trying to, now I've got to remember to go back to the Hangout, because as people talk, that the screen swaps to them. So if you had a video, it would swap to you. So how have things been? I can hear you now, no worries, yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay. Just so you know, at the minute, I'm recording this to plonk it up on. I'm hoping it goes to YouTube. It may not, but I'm also recording it via ScreenFlow just to give everyone some idea of how Google Plus Hangouts work and where things can stuff up. So that was just a quick disclaimer. So if you wanted to, I'm happy to take stuff offline. I'll actually be in Sydney next week, so I'm in Sydney next Thursday. So yep, terrific. Yeah, so for people listening, it was. I don't know if you caught my Sports Business Insider sort of recap. Because the way Seat operates, in that it's a unique conference, in that it's panel operated, not keynote lecture style. So there's so much information coming out from the discussions. It's really hard to recap, and because you're not getting those slides of, oh, that's a wow stat, I'm going to share it, because a lot of it comes from the discussions and the networking and stuff. So Chris and Christine did a really good job with the lineup and getting the mix of the panels right. It was a lot different, I would say, from last year. Last year at 2011 in LA was really tech heavy. It was really the IT guys. But adding the CRM stream to Seat this year was a real big bonus. So some really good guys there. Some guys you would know from Twitter, Russell Scabetti from Jets, and our friend Kirsten was there. She did a fly-in visit. Bill Sutton was there doing a ticketing panel, which you would have been really interested in. So it was a really good, a bit more of a mix and a little bit less. We're always talking about Wi-Fi and DAS. It's always still a big issue, but it wasn't a major. Yeah, it does get bigger, but it wasn't the sole focus. Yeah, there was. I mean, I think the CRM side of the stuff brought in a fair few, so there was a bit more multiple attendees. So like Kevin Akers from the Warriors turned up as as the IT guy, but he also brought the marketing, the CRM people to talk CRM. So there was a bit more of a mix there. And then then the day two was more digital, mobile, and social focused. So there was a little bit of a lot more marketing and the CRM side of it was really good. So they're definitely going to extend that. And then one of the developments was in the last day they had a panel on broadcasting and how TV and how that's so pretty much really getting integrated with the IT side of things. The making sure the stadium can cater for the broadcasters. We saw the Olympics not being able to serve the broadcasters because people were tweeting too much during the cycling, right? So I think that'll probably be something additional that gets added or becomes more relevant for 2013 in KC. So that'll be the I guess the main things, and that there will be in San Francisco. I was lucky enough to go to. So where did I go? I was lucky enough to go to a game at Candlestick, which, and then the next day I went to AT&T. So it was sort of like, chalk and cheese. It was like going to sports in the caveman area. As much as it was good going to Candlestick. Hey Dan, how you doing? Shane's here, but he's not on. He's not on. Yeah, well, you see Dan's. Dan's obviously dressed up for the occasion. Thanks, Dan. You've got to remember that when you're hopping on a... Yeah. No, don't turn the camera off. I'm recording this. I'm hoping that this actually goes to the YouTube channel, but I don't think it is, because I don't think because I've done it off the Sports Geek page. It's not connected via YouTube, so I am recording it just to show how easy and hard it is to do a Hangout. Yeah. Yeah, no, I just thought I'll go it, knowing that you tell everybody and you only get a couple of attendees, and that's fine. I'm not complaining. You have to do a couple. I think Carlton have provided a pretty good blueprint, if I steal the name of their thing. They've done it now probably 6 or 7 weeks in a row. They're still only getting 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 people tuning in and actually joining in. But they're getting a lot more people, just passively watching, which again, there might be people passively watching right now. And then they're getting a lot of people watching it afterwards. So, and it does take about 6 or 7 weeks for trained fans to say, hey, this is what we're doing, because it's completely new. Yeah. So if you guys can still see my screen, if I jump back to Plus, and this is where the, oh come on. So if I jump back to me, you can join any, and this is where Hangouts is really good, but they don't actually give it the kudos it deserves. It's way down the bottom on the side there, when really they should put it at the top if they really want people using it. And if you go to that section, it will give you the Hangouts to watch. And if you hit play, you can just watch them right now. So you're not joining them. So I think MasterChef did one yesterday with Kumar cooking and other people cooking along with him. And if you're not going to, if you're in the position you are now and you don't have a video and you're not really cooking, but you just want to watch them do it, you can. Yeah, well, that's another. We're not talking about chat roulette, all right? Different thing altogether. Yeah. So, well, what I'll do is I'll take you through. So you're still seeing my my screen, yeah? So I'll take you through, and if Dan's watching in the background or if he's gone to get changed to come back, I'll keep going. If anyone else, so my session was similar to what I did last year in a bit of a panel session talking about case studies and what we're doing social wise. I pretty much talked to Chris and Christine and said, here's the people I'd like to have on my panel to talk about that. And I said, we're in Boston, there's Pete Stringer, and I rattled off a whole bunch of names, and they went and found them all and put them all on other panels. So I went, that's cool. So it was good to see, Pete Stringer, and so Pat Coyle ran a panel on digital and building a team with Peter Stringer, Brian Oates from the Patriots, and Megan Ryan from the Boston Red Sox. So it was a real Boston-focused panel. So for my session, I hit up Lou because I knew he was a Boston native, and you'd know Lou from the SB chats that you would have tuned in, at least watched while you're trying to do your work and want to join in, but you go, I've really got work to do, which I do on a Monday. And then Laura, I was able to connect with actually via Mike. So Mike contacted me, and he works for Nesson, which is a regional sports network in Boston. And he said, he was just speaking to Laura, who's from Boston as well. And so it just sort of fortuitously came together that I contacted Laura, and that's how sort of my panel came together. So
I think the legacy of this.
Yes, I did. So yeah, I just realised I was on the final slide, not the first slide. So when I was in San Francisco, I did catch up with Laura at the new Twitter offices. So it didn't do much other than have lunch, and had a go at the had a shot of some hoops and the popper shot. So I'm better than Brian Sarabian, but not as good as Pete Stringer. So I've got to lift my game for next time. So if you are in San Francisco, make sure you get some practice in on the popper shot. So our session was the start of day 2 after our night at Fenway, which was a really good night. So there were a few sore heads, as you can imagine, after a night at Fenway. And so I wanted to get everyone up and going. So I got the whole conference up, bolting. I don't know if you saw the pic, and I've actually put the video of us doing it on the YouTube channel before. So that was good just to get everyone started. And so then I did my usual spiel about understanding social media and comparing it to broadcast media, which is, to me, broadcast media is a one-way discussion, Pat Riley style, my way or the highway. I'm not entering into any discussion, whereas social media is connected discussion. It's players, teams, administrators, coaches, media, fans. They're all part of the discussion. They all have different levels of influence, but everyone has their say. And so I was just talking about how teams are now pushing the boundaries, are testing new platforms, but in the end they want to play where your fans play. So those last two sort of go against one another. You've got to test new platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, Zine, all these new ones that are coming along on board. But you also got to realise that you want to play where the fans play. So that's Twitter, that's Facebook. So there is value though testing those new platforms, because you never know what is going to really hit well with your fan market, your fan and your demographic. And that's where I think Instagrams work really well for sports, because you're able to show that slice of life stuff that the fans don't get. So so I pretty much discussed how digital helps take a new fan to a super fan and take you along that digital fan journey, and the fact that with all these social platforms you can accelerate that journey because you can provide them all this content that previously, 10 years ago we didn't have. And the fact that Todd in I'm just going to get a blank, as they've got the tornado there, the hurricane hitting them down in New Orleans. Down in New Orleans with the Hornets and the Saints. 7 years ago, Twitter didn't exist when Katrina was around. Yeah, so now it's a completely different environment. People are using different mediums, and so this is you want to take a fan from I'm casually watching the game, or I maybe read an article to here's my credit card details. Can you please hand them back when I die? That's what all of us in sports administrations want to get to, and it really fits well with, I think anyway. I read Lou's book. Have you read Lou's book, Winning the Customer? Yeah, I mean, it does fit in. He's all about taking the fans from, the different groups to take them to that super fan, you're super committed, and take them on that journey. So the three case studies I use for the Seek guys to give them an understanding of the Australian market and how social can be applied in different manners. I use West Coast as one, where they've got 40,000 membership base. They've got a waiting list. They've got a full stadium. They can't get more people into the stadium, but they're using social and digital to keep that list engaged, keep them ready to buy, keeping them active in other events and other things that are available to them. So making sure that list that's a lot younger than the current season ticket list is ready to become more than just a fan. And so that's where I talked about the Eagles. The second one that I profiled was the Melbourne Storm, and again in that they're a unique situation. You'd think being a one-team town, you'd have everything your own way, but they're competing against 9 AFL clubs. So it makes for a very cluttered market, and so their goal is to, first of all, get everybody in Melbourne to adopt them as their team, and they're becoming pretty successful in that. They've got really good numbers of fans liking them on Facebook and following them on Twitter, but now we have to convert them from, get them out of that selectivism mode. That's a term that I've heard. Oh, he's back, is he? Yeah, so... Yeah, so, well, and we've discussed it before, is, this selectivism of, people slamming brands on Facebook and then it getting 100,000 likes, right? It actually has very little effect on things. People can say, oh, Channel 9, your coverage is terrible. 100,000 people like it, but it doesn't actually promote much action. And so you want to make sure you get your fans out of that selectivism mode of, yeah, of course I like the Wallabies, but it doesn't mean you go to a game. And so what worked really well with Dan and the Storm was doing the Storming the Night themed game with Dark Knight Rises, the jerseys. We ran a tweet up to make sure all the fans were talking about it. And we really provide a completely different entertainment option for the Melbourne sports market. They're not going to get that kind of experience in an AFL game, and it hopefully starts dragging them through the gate. Because once they go to the game, they're very happy with what happens on the field and what they get. Oh yeah, exactly. Who's not going to tweet a photo of themselves with Batman? Exactly. The only person that told me off was my girlfriend. And then the last one that I profiled was Sydney Thunder and the Big Bash experience overall, in that they started 3 months out of a season with no players, team names not decided, and no database for a large part of it, especially in Sydney where they didn't, they had to effectively cut the cricketing database in half. So we really use social to identify any particular fan in the same way that you guys did with Rugby World Cup, responding to any fan, replying to them, identifying anyone that's going to become a Thunder fan, and then making sure that we help them group themselves, using hashtags, getting them to share pictures, and even simple things like telling them, hey guys, turn the TV on, we're on TV now. because it was such a new product, and Big Bash happened so quickly. It probably took till about game 4 to people go, oh, cricket's on, or this Big Bash thing's on, and it really didn't catch on till like week 3, 4 to people start getting onto it. So it was really about tuning in, getting to the games, and trying to best identify those fans. Yep. Travel like. Yeah, it's, yep. Yep. Yeah, so that actually leads me to Lou's spiel. I'm not going to try to do Lou's Boston accent, but he got up and, because my accent always sound like a Jamaican Irishman, all of them. So Lou got up, did his 5 P's to social media, and actually ties in quite well to what you just said there. His 5 P's are provide, participate, purchase, promotions, and preference. So the easy one is provide. That's, provide the news, make sure you're the information source. If someone's got a question, giving advice on game day, tips on parking, how to get there, all those kind of things. That's the easy one. That's the one that everyone can do quite well. The one where you start getting the real value from a social point of view is the participating. So making sure that you're in that collaborative environment, not in that broadcast mode. You want to be connected with your fans, answering their questions, and like we're doing with the Sydney Thunder, building that fan avidity and taking them along that journey. So Lou gave a spiel for SB Chats, which we've done a couple of times with a few teams, and it does work well to give you that tune-in feature of, hey guys, we're going to talk about this right now, whether it's around the team lists or lead up to something that's happening. So the participating is what most of the fans want. And then the purchase one is a lot like your travel agent story. It's not really about using Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is to sell like crazy, but make sure that when your fans do want to buy something, that you're there giving them that stuff. So giving them a buying tip, oh, here's the hotels in that case, or, did you know you can stay here when you're on a away game, or here's how to get the tickets, is a way to do it. And you've got to, it's a necessary evil to a certain degree. Everything about social's got to have some ROI, and if you can show that you can make some sales, it's all good for the bottom line. Then he did talk about promotions and social media exclusives, contents, events, and happenings. For mine, I think it's a good way of making sure that your social fans feel like they're the insiders, but I don't think it needs to be all eggs in that basket. I think it's a nice way to preview certain things, because if you push out an offer just to Twitter, the way Twitter is, the half-life of a tweet is 4 minutes. No one sees it, or no one comes, and everyone oh, it's all failed. Whereas if you said, oh, we're going to give an hour exclusive to our Facebook fans, and then we're going to open it up to the general public, or then we're going to send it to our email list, then they have the feeling of exclusive, plus you're still driving it through the traditional channels. There's no need to throw out things like email and standard marketing tactics. And then the last one is preference, which is extends the promotions one, in the saying give your social media fans some preference. But the way I extend this last point is making sure you give specific content for each platform, because there's no good duplicating the same picture, video thing on every single platform. because then there's no value to being on the different platforms. So, as an example, last week on Monday at the Storm game, Dan and I took a whole bunch of pictures down at ground level during the first half, and we uploaded them. We uploaded all of them to the Google Plus event, but we only shared one or two on Twitter, and one became the Facebook post for half time. So, as a Google Plus fan, you're like, oh look, I've got all these extra content. That's why I'm on Google Plus, and you've got to make them want more. I've got the juicy Twitter sports and advertising stuff now, but I can catch up with you on. I'll keep going, but I'll take you through it next week. No worries. I'll see you then. Cheers. We are halfway through, and I'm just going to go back to the Hangout and see. You're still here, Dan, or you're not here? You're just not showing your face. Audio's not there. So I'm going to finish this and quickly go through the rest of my slides and wrap things up. So I'll go back to the deck and keep talking. So Laura King got up and talked about Twitter and sports and what they've been doing. Gave some really great numbers around what Twitter has been doing, just looking at the Super Bowl alone. So four years ago, 27 tweets per second, whereas in this year's Super Bowl, 12,000 tweets per second were registered. So that just sort of shows you the growth in what they're doing. And here you can see the top Twitter moments of all time. And 6 of the top 8 are from sports. So it shows that live sports really kills from a Twitter point of view. One exception here is, and although Laura did this presentation during the Olympics, the London 2012 Olympics won't appear in this section. So that's mainly because it was on delay in the US, and the Twitter record for the London 2012 was 80,000 tweets per minute, which puts it for Euro 2012 it was about 900,000 tweets per minute. So it just shows you how much of effective the NBC's call to delay live coverage of Twitter, live coverage of the Olympics affected Twitter and the throughput. But from the point of view of Twitter, it's definitely rapidly growing. 140 million active users. So an active user is someone who has tweeted or logged into Twitter in the last 6 months. And over 400 million tweets per day. So they're serving about 1 billion tweets every 3 days currently, and that's continuing to grow. They've been doing some things in sports. So you might have seen the NASCAR activation where they provided a curated content, bringing in all the tweets of official content, showing the photos for NASCAR around the NASCAR hashtag, and some advertising around that is one way that Twitter are starting to get into the sports and entertainment area where Laura is. We all know what a sports fan looks like, and Laura there in the middle. We follow our sports team, we follow our athletes, we follow our teams, and we follow journalists. So you get that really good feel of the whole sports space in Twitter. And now Twitter are now pushing and starting to promote Twitter ads. Not currently publicly available in Australia, but they are being currently used in the US. And so some of the things that Twitter ads can provide from a sports industry goals point of view, you can use promoted accounts to grow your fan base, and then you can use promoted tweets in timelines and in search, primarily to drive conversions, whether it's for ticketing, merch, tuning in, or even just traffic to your website. Extending your sponsorships if you're doing a promotion with a sponsor, and also use it to break news and keep your site in front of the news cycle when a big news story breaks. So to grow a follower base is pretty straightforward. It allows you to run a campaign to get more followers, where Twitter will target followers like your own already. So you're getting real people. You're not getting bots and fake fans, as you might do if you go and buy Twitter followers elsewhere. Then the other one is driving conversions. So again, making sense for ticket sales and merchandise. Rather than tweeting it 12 times to try to bump up access to an event, you can just use a promoted tweet and keep that tweet near the top and in front of your fans or your followers to make sure more people see it. Additionally, you can capitalize on real-time intent with promoted tweets and search. So if you've just won a game, you can see here what the Packers have done just after winning the championship. They've done a promotion that promotes their merchandise to people searching for the Packers immediately after the win. So as you allows you to capture those fans who are just joining a conversation and watching the conversation to know that you've got a really great offer there. And then the other one is you can extend and make sure that your sponsored tweets get the reach that you want to get the results for your campaign. This is the case study that I really like that Laura presented, and it was around the breaking news of David Beckham re-signing with the LA Galaxy. They used a promoted tweet to make sure that their news and their site stayed at front and center in the top of the queue of the Twitter sphere when the news broke. So normally what would happen is a team would break the news, it may get tweeted and retweeted by the fans, but then sports news organisations and pundits and broadcasters would start tweeting and start siphoning off that traffic. What the Galaxy were able to do with the promoted tweet was to keep their tweet again at the top of the list and drove 39% of referral traffic for that campaign from Twitter, which is an absolutely ridiculous number. Some of the other things from a follow button, just from a simple integration point of view, having the follow button gives you a big increase in replies and favourites and retweets. Expandable tweets are going to keep popping up in the stream, especially from the advertiser's point of view, and so that'll give a different feel for Twitter. So that was the Twitter and sports section, and then Mike Hall at Nesson went through a couple of case studies for how they've used social media at Nesson. They're on every channel, and they've deliberately gone to every channel to find out what works for them. They did try to integrate tweets with their broadcasts.
So you're a Red Sox,
but it didn't quite hit the mark. It's very hard to get a platform that's so live like Twitter and make it integrate perfectly with TV, because you might tweet about a specific game event, and if it doesn't get on the screen in the next 30 seconds, it becomes a dated tweet. So it makes it very hard to prep those tweets, and you end up with tweets like this asking people about what's the favourite movie. So what has worked for them is Nesson Nation,
your game time
where they've built a sub-site of their site specifically targeting
Twitter, and everything fans are cheering and saying, all wrapped up in one site. Interact with other fans, comment on the game while it's happening.
Definitely saw more intensity at the end of that period.
And enjoy insightful videos.
A great game played by both teams, and certainly what this league is looking for.
NessonNation.com during every Boston Bruins game.
Red Sox, but it's also providing a lot of the other news and information and funny videos that all the fans, especially in that college demographic, like. And what that's worked, with effectively a content strategy around that, they've been able to build this sub-site to provide a bit of a connection with those fans, and now they've been able to get two sponsors that work very well with that specific demographic. So that pretty much wraps up my presentation from a point of view. And for this, I probably will wrap up now. Like I said, I'm hoping this gets to YouTube. I have recorded it, and again, I'm hoping technical difficulties aside, it does come through. If you are watching this at another time, thanks for watching. Be sure to keep an eye out for our next one, and hopefully all the glitches that we may have had today are no longer there. And I will wrap up from here, and I'll wrap up from here and getting tweets, which can be a little bit distracting. I'm going to wrap up from here and see if I can get this video up and running, and I'll talk to you all guys soon. Definitely, if you are listening to this now, definitely tune in to ABC Grandstand tomorrow morning. I'm going to have Chris Zeppenfeld from the Charlotte Bobcats on the show talking about sports and CRM. Like I said, it was a big theme at Seat, and he's doing a great job selling tickets at the Charlotte Bobcats, which isn't an easy sell, considering their performance on court. But the things that they're doing from a sales ticketing perspective and how they're using the CRM should be make for a good discussion, and I think we'll most likely have him back because he's got a lot to say. All right, you can catch me at Sean Callanan on Twitter or at Sports Geek on Twitter, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.